I think for Anchorage, it's crazy, right? So, snowstorm, middle of the night, driving around, nothing's moving. I stumble on this car that looks like a UFO set it down in the middle of a snowstorm. We get some of the weirdest calls, and it's not so much Anchorage, but it's just the whole state.
Have you seen a UFO up there? Well, I think we should get going because today is going to be really exciting. I'm very thankful that you're here. So we have a person in studio that is traveled very far from the most rugged environment, like vast untamed wilderness, the permafrost, like anything absolute extreme you can think about, all the way from Anchorage, Alaska. Steve, you are in studio with us. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. This is awesome.
Yeah, and for everybody that's wondering, Steve, you are a detective with the Anchorage Police Department's Czajkowski. Did I say it right?
Yep, Detective Ski. Makes
Detective
it easier.
Ski. All right,
Okay,
so
ski.
We'll just ski. I mean, I guess it fits with Alaska if you ski. Do you ski?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't like skiing.
Okay, do you snowboard?
I don't do it. I'll go ride snow machines. I'll go camp, hike, fish, hunt.
That's funny. You guys call them
ski.
You guys call them snow machines. That's right, because here we call them snowmobiles.
Yes.
And do you make fun of us for that?
No.
And
my wife sells snow machines, so I cannot make fun of it. I love them, but I'm not allowed to have one.
What?
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's
Maybe that's a story you could share with us on the podcast. Why your wife, or
Yeah.
unless your wife is going to kill you if she listens to
I
this.
can't
or
buy
watches
boats
it.
and snow machines without prior approval. That's just
Okay.
like a thing that ends up being a
That's
rule.
fair.
So have you
That's fair.
been denied?
No, I have a boat. I got a riverboat. I got friends with sleds. I steal theirs. But if I buy a sled, I know I'll be gone every weekend.
Oh, yeah.
I got
Makes
three
sense.
girls, so I'm committed to fishing in the summer and family.
It's like buying a Harley.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because it's like an individual sport. You can't take your family. So I get it. I
Yeah.
actually had to sell my Harley, got a boat for the family. So I totally get it.
Yeah, same thing.
Yep. So, Steve, super stoked to have you here. You are the first guest we've had from Alaska. Like we said earlier, probably the last. But
Not in a bad way, Kyle.
yeah, no, not in a bad way at all.
Yeah.
Like, this is awesome. I think before we've actually talked about it would be cool to have a cop from Alaska to be on the show.
Yeah, and
a
here
long
we-
time ago, and here we are. So
Yeah.
super excited. Tell everybody, the viewers, who you are. Give a little bit of background of your career in law enforcement, and we got some exciting questions to ask you, and then we're going to jump into the episode.
Sounds good. So I was a military officer moving around the world, did Minuteman III weapons, and I got out and I was like, well, what am I going to do? I want to go home back to Anchorage. Left Alaska and I was like, I'm going back. So go back to Alaska, and I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do. So friends like, you should try out for the police department or the fire department. And I picked the police department. And
Good for you.
Right? So interviewed while I was still in, flew back home, and then I got a call, hey, here's your conditional offer. You start April 30th. I'm like, I don't even know that I'm going to be out of the military. So I had to finagle that. My last day in the military was my first day at the department, and it just worked out smoothly, and I transitioned. Next thing you know, I was hitting the street in Anchorage, and it was just a cyclone for that year. Like, getting out of the military, move back home, buy a house, start the job, and I had never done police work. So I wasn't, in law enforcement in the military. I went from sitting in a silo in Montana to running around at night, and I'm going, what am I doing? It was a change for sure.
I bet.
Yeah. How long ago was that?
2007.
That's when you try. It's funny you say like try out for the fire department or for law enforcement.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't grow up law enforcement family.
Yeah.
I grew up military family. Had friends that were, a lot of the guys I went to school with grew up in Anchorage, cops, firemen, attorneys. And I just started looking, what am I going to do when I go back home? I had a business degree, and I'm like, I don't want to really do sales or anything. I want to go do something fun. Next thing you know, I'm at the police academy.
So
it was great.
So you grew up, you guys are from Alaska. You grew up in Anchorage?
Yeah, I grew up in Anchorage, moved around the U.S. My dad was military, and that's what most of Anchorage is. A lot of people end up residing there after
Really?
their parents get a tour to Anchorage. So my dad got stationed at Elmendorf, which is now J-Bear, and been there ever since, back and forth.
Nice, dude. Well, we do have some questions about Alaska. We're very curious, but
Okay, so before we get into this, we want to thank Closure, the first digital analyst for law enforcement, for sponsoring this episode. Closure has saved thousands of hours of work and helped close cases for San Francisco, Anchorage, San Mateo, across homicide, cold case, human trafficking, sex assault, and other major investigations and prosecutions. So we want to thank Closure for sponsoring this episode. We have a lot of interesting things we want to ask you about Alaska because, quite frankly, We don't know anything about it.
And we've never been. So, what was it like growing up there?
You know, as a kid, it's great. You get snow at the wintertime. You get to go play at recess in snow pants. And then as an adult, you start to figure out there's actually 4 seasons in other states. But as a kid, it's amazing because at wintertime, there's snow. You can go out. And when I say snow, like 4-5 feet of snow, snow machine parked in the backyard as a kid, jump on the snow machine, rip around on base. So it's great.
Huh.
You know, it's a lot of fun.
What's the coldest it gets in Alaska in the wintertime?
Coldest, well, I mean, it gets super cold in some parts of the state. Fairbanks is notorious for being like the big city where it's cold. And I mean, it'll be -40 in Fairbanks for weeks on end.
-40.
-40.
Wow.
I don't even know how to comprehend that.
We complain when it gets 40 degrees here Fahrenheit.
So I went to Healy, which is by Fairbanks, a couple years ago, -57. All the cars are plugged in. When I say plugged in, like heating blanket on top of the engine, oil pan heater, transmission heater.
Wow.
And then when you start driving, you actually have a flat spot in your tires because the tires are kind of frozen.
Wow.
So you got to kind of just, I mean, it'll literally clunk over as you start to drive. So you got to kind of let the tires get used to life again at -57.
Crazy.
That's wild.
That is wild.
Well, what people actually don't know right now is that you're actually wearing snow pants and boots right now.
Yeah.
Which is
So
weird.
People can't actually
It's
see
weird.
it
that.
didn't
But
change.
yeah, we're like, Steve, did you not have anything else to wear? And you're like, no, this is my formal wear.
Yeah,
So
he's got-
it makes
he's-
sense.
He's got those moon boots on.
Yeah, the ones you love to run in.
Yeah. No, but seriously, Mark was wondering, is this the least amount of clothes that you wear, like, have ever worn?
Besides the interest in my clothing, but yeah, like for us, like I'd say 8 months out of the year, it's just normal. Like if it's not below 32, people don't have jackets on.
That is wild.
And I come down here and I see people wearing North Face puffy coats, and I'm like, it's 65 out. Back home, people are in tank tops at 65 and flip flops.
That's crazy.
I mean,
So-
my kids are in shorts at 40 at the lake swimming in the water, and there's ice floating in the lake.
yeah.
That's awesome.
And they're
I guess
like,
you
let's
just
go swimming.
acclimate.
You adapt. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're just adapting. So
Well,
you guys
you
make
wouldn't
fun
be
of
able
us, is
to.
what you're saying.
I think it goes
Down
both
here in the
ways.
lower 48, when you guys see all the way we dress and stuff when it's cold.
No,
or what
I-
we think is cold.
I'm jealous.
Yeah.
I love being down here. It's nice. It's warm. And then I'm going to go back. When we left, it was 17. So
That's crazy. Well, so when does it heat up? Or like when does summer or spring? I don't know if you have a spring.
we do. It's just breakup is what we call it. And it's the snow goes away, but we're waiting. Like breakup comes, and then it's just everything's muddy mess for a good 3 or 4 weeks, and then
Dries
starts to dry out. But yeah, it's breakup's miserable because everything's dirty, everything's dusty. You know, everything that was in the snow for the last 6 months is coming to the top, and it's just gross.
out. Yeah, I can see that.
Out in the mountains, it's gorgeous, but like in town where there's
Yeah.
snow plowing and spreading gravel,
Yeah.
it's pretty.
Well,
Yeah,
icy.
not even sand, it's gravel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about policing in Alaska. Let's get into that. So you started your career in 2007, go to the academy, come out on patrol.
Yeah.
How long are you working patrol for?
So I did patrol for 8-9 years.
Okay.
Worked night shift mainly.
Jeez.
Did the bar district and kind of our one of our more high activity neighborhoods around the area, and loved it. Did that for a really long time, and then I was like, I haven't seen daylight in a while. Worked night shift in the military. Worked night shift on police department. So then I transitioned to day shift, and then did that for about 18 months, and they were like, hey, detectives is open. Next thing you know, I was in detectives.
Okay. Well, and we're definitely going to hop into that later and talk about how closure is helping you guys solve cases and the lack of resources really Alaska, I guess you guys have up in Alaska. And really, I mean, most departments anywhere are short staffed and how that's kind of supplementing that. So we'll dive into that here in a little bit. I think people are generally curious. Really, like I said, policing in Alaska, like it is very vastly different than how we are down here in the lower 48 and what we have to deal with. I mean, some of the things I was rattling off my brain, I was talking to Mark, it's like, dude, if a bad guy runs from you and you get in a foot pursuit, you're working graveyards, it's wintertime. Like, how often does that happen that someone wants to run from the cops in Alaska into the woods? And then at what point does it become go locating a suspect, or is this now like a rescue mission to go find somebody before they get killed out in the wilderness?
You described it to a T. Like, guys are the same thing that happens down here when guys bail out of a car. It happens at 30 below. The only difference is they're amped up. They don't have their clothes on. They, if they're lucky, they'll have a jacket on. Next thing you know, they're jumping over a snowbank. for the first 5 or 10 minutes, they may be okay. But when we start throwing up, now we've got drones at the department. We don't have a helo in the air. State troopers have a helo, so it's not like we can throw that up at a moment's notice. But we have had guys that have gone out into the woods in the middle. I mean, you drive 10 minutes outside of Anchorage, there's nothing. It's not like down here where you've got a sheriff's department to help you or another agency. I mean, the city of Anchorage is about the size of Rhode Island. So when you explain it to people, Anchorage is ginormous, and we're spread out. If you were to run lights and sirens from one end of town, like where the city starts to the other side, it'd take you 2 hours.
Oh, wow.
Kyle actually doesn't know how big
I don't.
Rhode Island is.
I don't know that either.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the
I know
exact
it's-
numbers. I think it's like 1,750 square miles-ish.
So yeah, it's big. You guys are big.
Yeah, we've got a big state park surrounding us. Ocean surrounds Anchorage. So we've got a little bit of everything. We got people getting stuck in the mud, out on the mud flats. Fire department has to deal with that. We don't have an adjoining agency. That's what makes us unique. Like if something goes sideways in the middle of the night on a Monday or Tuesday, I don't have a sheriff's department to call. State troopers don't operate in town unless we call their SWAT team, and they're 40 to 60 minutes from the next closest city. So you're talking 2 or 3 hours to get guys to you.
Jeez.
2 or 3 hours?
Oh, yeah.
That's wild. Because here we have, we're surrounded by cities everywhere. So if a critical incident happens and I need the neighboring city to come, they're here within minutes.
Yeah, we don't have that.
So
it's Anchorage PD or
nothing.
So what happens when because you're describing like having a ton of snow, it's depth, and you're working a patrol, because people, I'm curious. I know a lot of people are like actually responding to a call. So say you get a dispatch call to a domestic violence call or a something, and you have to respond to that. How, like, what if there's snow? Like, what's the challenge of in the harsh environments at times? How is that actually affecting you even being able to get there?
So it's just like you guys. I don't know how you operate with the heat and the vests and everything, so we adapt.
We sweat.
Okay. So we freeze. But you'll see, guys, you would think we'd run our heater in our car all night. We don't.
Just to be acclimated to the cold?
You run your air conditioner.
What?
Because if you're dressed up in cold weather gear in your car all night, the last thing you want to do is sweat before you get out in the...
Oh, man.
So you're wearing your jacket all shift, and you've got on insulated boots that are, Baffin boots or whatever. You're wearing your latest and greatest hunting boots that are designed for 10, 20, 30 below. And, it depends on the night. Some nights are colder than others. You wear different boots. But if you're wearing your real heavy-duty boots, last thing you want to do is sit there and crank the heat up because you can't take them off mid-shift. So you actually, it's weird to think about it, but...
it makes total sense.
I would run with the AC on in wintertime to keep me
Makes
cool because I'm wearing all my cold weather gear, or drive around with the window cracked at 20 below.
Interesting.
So, and everybody does it
about
different.
that?
Some guys just don't wear jackets. Like they'll put their jacket on when they get out. Everybody's got their own technique, but mine was just, I'd stay dressed up for the night. I'd put my gloves on, hat would go on at the last minute, but drive around with the AC on at 20 below. It sounds like you're crazy, but it works.
I'm imagining like the movie Fargo, where they wear those like little fuzzy hats.
We actually
kind of talk a little.
When I got started, we got them issued to us, and I don't think anybody wore them. They were probably from the 70s. I think we may have put them on in the academy.
I don't want to
Steve,
this
just
wee
say-
stuff. Did
just
you
say you
wear
wore
one?
it.
I did put it on at
All
one
right,
point.
here we go.
It never saw me go hit the streets. So
that's funny. Sorry if these seem like silly questions.
it's
generally it's intriguing.
It's a different world to us because I see you guys operate down here. You see all the YouTube videos or the mass shootings or any of these where they rip apart a incident, and I'm like, oh yeah, we can't do that. Yeah, we can't do that. We don't have that. So we're kind of like Alaska's the biggest state in the nation, but we're kind of on an island.
Yeah.
Like we've got some federal partners in town. We've got some adjoining cities. But no one, we're 360 swornish, should be at about 425. The next police department of that size is the state troopers, and they're at 260 sworn for the entire state.
Yeah.
What's your vehicles like? Are you driving a patrol car? Do you have 4-wheel drive trucks? Do you have the snow machines? Do you
I
have
wish
snow
we had
cats?
trucks. We've got snow machines. I'm on the tech team for the SWAT guys. So we got 2 snow machines, 2 4-wheelers. Water is the fire department's problem, not ours. We leave the wet stuff to them. But when it comes to in town, we'll pull out the snow machines for missing hikers. They pulled them out the other day for a guy that ran into the woods. So we pull those out occasionally. Four-wheelers come out in the summertime. But as far as cars go, I started in a two-wheel drive Impala, just like you guys
No
drive.
shit.
Yeah, just with studded tires. So we have tire changeover season for the patrol cars. And in April and October, hey, go get your studded tires put on. So we all get in line and we all take home cars. So we go in and get studded tires put on our car and you're good to go. The Impalas are almost gone. We've got a few that are hanging on. A few detectives are driving them. But now we've gone all to Explorers, Durangos, Tahoes. It's kind of a mix.
So is it true? What is this whole being dark for 23 hours out of the day? Is that a certain part of the year? Is that even is that true or what?
It is accurate. So it's as you go further north, the guys up in Barrow, like sun sets, 3 months later it comes up. It'll get like daylight or dusk. But yeah, in Anchorage, in the wintertime, I go to work in the dark. I leave work in the dark. Sun comes up 8, 9, 10, and 2, 3, 4, it's gone depending. So in the wintertime, it's very dark. People have like, they call them SAD lights in their office, you know, the full spectrum lighting, just to get some vitamin D in the wintertime.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, it's
Crazy.
dark a lot in the wintertime.
That's insane.
What is, if you can name a couple or what you're thinking in your mind, like what is the biggest challenge of working in your area, working in Alaska? Like what is the biggest challenge?
I think the biggest challenge for us is just no help. Like you guys have resources. For us, it's everybody at APD's got like a second job, like a specialty. Whether you're crime scene, whether you're, you know, SWAT team, tech guy, whatever it may be, mental health, we don't really have anyone else to go to. So we kind of just figured it out ourselves over the years. And the department's been super resourceful. Like, you know, we can't do that. We don't have that option. We started doing drones for missing persons and things like that. So our department kind of looks outside the box, and it helps because we don't have anyone else to call. There is no one else to help us.
Well, how about those other smaller well, I shouldn't even say smaller agencies. I don't know that they even have police departments, but like you hear of these little towns, I guess, would you guys call them like way out in the middle of nowhere? I mean, how are they being policed?
Yeah,
You guys help with
so
that?
the way it works up there is there's no sheriffs in the whole state. State troopers cover the whole state. So 260 guys patrolling all of Alaska. Alaska's 4 times the size of California. So if you spread out 260 guys across...
I feel like you wanted to flex on us right there, dude.
No, well, we could do it another way. It's like
just
Texas,
kidding.
Montana,
No,
and
you just say,
California.
hey, I'll flex on you another way.
Yeah.
Let me.
So, but at the same time, like you guys have things that we're so jealous of. But these guys, the state troopers, I mean, they're out in the middle of nowhere.
Well, that's why I think it's interesting to have you here, and we're thrilled about that. Is a lot of agencies across the United States have resources. I mean, look where I came from, city of Sacramento. You have resources. Your department has resources. They have funding. If we need something, you can call a neighbor. They'll be there in a matter of minutes. They may have experienced something. They have the ability to solve crimes or like come up with an idea or bounce things off of. But everything you keep going back to is like you are the Swiss Army knife. Like your department, the people that you work with, not only have really no resources, but you have to create those ideas internally and like constantly think about how do we do this, because you're not getting that help.
And
It's wild.
That's policing in Alaska. Whether it's Anchorage, like the guys outside of Anchorage that come to town for training, they're like, we wish we had all the resources you guys have, because they're coming from a department of 10 or 20. We have departments in Alaska that don't offer 24/7 police coverage. Kodiak, some of these other cities, they don't even have 24/7 operations. At one point, Fairbanks didn't have 24/7 policing.
So what is it like? Okay, we're hearing some from the law enforcement side, but what is it like from the victim side? A crime has been committed against somebody. What is it like for them to potentially, I don't want to get into your detective skill set yet, but on a patrol base or how the general public feels is potentially being victims of crimes where there is limited resource, being able to actually access or meet with the victims, depending on the weather, the climate, the ability to get there. How is that within law enforcement?
So the troopers really specialize in that, and we end up being like the go-to because we're in Anchorage. So we have Alaska Native Medical Center here in Anchorage, and it's the big hospital for the state. Everybody that's out in a village or a town that needs to fly in for medical treatment, most of them end up going to Alaska Native Medical Center. So if you're out in a village and, like you're saying, home invasion or a burglary, something happens, it may take a trooper 3 or 4 days to get to you because of weather.
Wow.
They have to fly in. 80% of the places in Alaska, there's no road system. So a trooper is on a snow machine, a riverboat, a helicopter, or an airplane. So we're talking, you could be a trooper out in Bethel, and we don't, in Anchorage, we don't have that problem. We've got roads everywhere, but somebody goes missing out in the park. We need the helo from the state troopers, and after that, it's snow machines and try to figure it out. So it gets quite interesting when you start talking about times, responses. A SWAT call out in a village, that's an airplane ride for the state troopers. They can't even get there without going to the airport in Anchorage and jumping on an airplane and going out to a village for an active shooter.
So for all the cops listening, they should feel grateful for what they have.
Yeah, well, there's definitely rural communities throughout the United States that operate solely by themselves. Backups 2 hours away.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So with your experience working, I can tell you from being a cop, if somebody calls and says, my house is just burglarized, I just got home, I'm scared to go in, I don't know if the suspects are in there or not, can you come? We were there within minutes. Because you want to find the suspect, but you also want to make sure that the victim feels compassion. They've just been violated. Their home has been burglarized. So if someone calls in a burglary and they say, I'm not sure if anyone's inside, like how do you, for you personally, your experience, how are you managing that?
In Anchorage, we manage it just like you guys do. We're there within a couple minutes. Some parts of Anchorage are a little further out. Maybe it's a 10 or 15 minutes for us to get there. So we get there, set up the perimeter, start, hey, we're going to clear a house, make announcements, put a dog at the back door. We do it much like any urban city would do. When it starts getting a little different is when you start moving away from Anchorage or Wasilla, the big towns. These guys out even on the road system, it may take 90 minutes for a trooper to get to your place because there may only be 6 troopers working Wasilla, and if you live 100 miles north of Wasilla, you're talking 100 miles for that trooper to get to you. So if they're not on something else,
That's
so
crazy.
it gets pretty interesting pretty quick.
That's like,
and probably in the wintertime, obviously that's going to, everything is going to be
Everything slows
dependent
down.
on,
that's like
it's
getting a
gotta.
call in San Francisco from here. It's like an hour and 15 or 20 minutes, 30 to get there.
And then I would say I'm not going there. So because it's San Francisco.
That's a long drive.
Anchorage Police doesn't have that problem, but the troopers, we've
Yeah.
heard stories of these guys doing pursuits and literally having to pull over to get gas while one officer continues, knowing he's going to run out.
That's crazy.
Keep an eye on the guy, and the next guy gets gas so they can follow him because Anchorage and Fairbanks are 5.5, 6 hours apart, and that's the only way.
You're just sacrificing your response at that point to keep eyes on the suspect so the next car full of fuel could catch up.
Yeah.
And then you're like, and I'm done. That's it.
Yeah.
And you just
I'm
like
out of
putt,
gas.
and you're
But
done.
talking about adapting, like that's
Yeah,
just,
that's wild.
but you guys are so, you got the next county to call.
Yeah.
Like troopers run to us, we run to them. But once you're outside of Wasilla or Anchorage, it's about 5 hours to the next major town.
Yeah.
You
Well,
gotta
thanks.
have a wild story working patrol.
I was just about to ask that. Yeah.
Yeah, you've got to have something.
Do you have a story that stands out to you from working patrol that's either like funny, weird, exciting,
There's,
all of the above?
I think for Anchorage, it's crazy, right? So snowstorm, middle of the night, driving around, nothing's moving. It's like a foot of snow, a Mountain Eagle River, which is a little further from Anchorage. It's like a 60,000 people. They live just north of Anchorage, but it's part of Anchorage. So I'm out there working and nothing is moving. It's a winter storm. And I pull up on this car and it looks like a helicopter has just set it down on the roadway. And I'm like, there's no tire tracks. There's no footprints. The bed rails have, a foot of snow on them, but there is no snow on the hood or the roof. And I'm like, this is interesting. And you're just like,
Why does no snow on the hood and roof stand out to you?
Well, the bed rails are cold, right?
Because if everything else has snow on it, why is there no snow on the?
So the cold part of the truck, bed rails have got snow on it.
Oh, the bed rail. Okay. On this. Okay.
But
now
the
I'm getting
cab's
it. Yeah.
heated. So the snow's
Okay.
sloughing off. And I'm like, that's interesting. This car's been here a while, but it's running. It's got heat. So I walk up and there's this dude passed out in the car with his foot on the brake in gear at the stop sign. And I'm like, oh, he's probably DUI or something. So we start chatting, and I bonded with the guy instantly. I'm like, hey, window down, you okay? He's trying to figure out the world. Army veteran, PTSD, meds, the whole 9 yards. And I'm like, do you know what country you're in right now? He's like, I have no clue. And I'm like, do you know what state you're in? He goes, I don't know. And I'm like, what's the last thing you remember? He's like, I took Ambien and I forgot I had no cigarettes.
Oh, jeez.
And so he lives 20 miles away, 15 miles away. He drove. He didn't even live in Eagle River. Last thing he remembers was leaving the house for cigarettes. And he's literally just parked at the intersection for probably 6 or 7 hours while it's snowing.
Oh, wow.
Foot on the brake, car in drive. And it's just one of those things. It's like you couldn't have made this story up. But here's this car sitting in the middle of nowhere, and you know it hasn't moved in 6 hours because you've been working all night, but there's only 2 or 3 guys in Eagle River. So we're driving around making the rounds. Nothing's moving. And I stumble on this car that looks like a UFO set it down in the middle of a snowstorm. And it's just crazy stuff like that you don't think about.
Have you seen a UFO up there?
No. I mean, I've seen weird stuff.
It's deep up there.
That's one of those calls where I'm like imagining in my brain being in your shoes, and I'm like, I'd roll up on that and I'd go, I'm good.
Yeah. Well, it's just funny because it's not, instead of like, hey, somebody just placed this car there or a helicopter, it's like a UFO dropped it. So that's why I'm like, I think Steve's seen some UFOs, dude.
I mean, we see a ton of weird stuff. It's a lot of the same stuff with you guys, but we just have like an Alaska flair to it. We get some of the weirdest calls, and it's not so much Anchorage, but it's just the whole state. You hear about these guys coming up, I'm going to go live in the woods, and the troopers meet a guy, and he's walking off into the woods and parking his car, and they're like, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, I'm just moving here. During COVID, we had and I couldn't believe this, Little Diomede is the island next to Big Diomede up in the ocean for Russia. And the joke is when ice freezes over, you can walk to Russia. They don't like that. They don't want you doing that. But there's villagers living on this island. Well, sometime during COVID, somebody from the East Coast decided, I'm going to go live in Little Diomede and walk to Russia.
Wow.
Well, he flew to Alaska, which is not a simple feat. He got to Anchorage and then got on a plane to Nome to get out. I mean, we're talking, if you were to look it up on the map, you wouldn't even believe people live out there. And they do. But these people know everybody. They live there. And here, this dude gets off a plane, knows no one on the island. There's only like 50 inhabitants maybe on the island. And they're like, what are you doing here? He's like, oh, I'm going to Russia. And they're like, no, you're not. Like, and now the trooper has to come out and get him, which is a helicopter or a plane because it's wintertime. And that's just to get a guy that had probably mental health issue that decided I'm walking to Russia. So he bought tickets and we get a lot of weird stuff like that. People come to Alaska, they're like, I saw something on the internet. I'm going to go live in the woods by myself and just build a cabin. And we're like, you realize it's going to be 60 below up here, or, 30 below, and you got to still go to the grocery store. Like they just,
I think I've met people that have done that. I met a guy who was a former Green Beret who did that. He literally moved to Alaska thinking he's going to rough it out. And I think he was there for a few years. And
has anybody heard from him?
Yeah, I'll tell you off air where that guy's at, but he's actually in jail now.
Well, you just told us you'd tell us off air.
I know, but not. That's a whole other
Kyle
story.
Always
Anyways,
I
just met somebody who did exactly what he's talking about. Like he thought, I'm gonna go to Alaska and just
happens all the time,
rough it out, and no.
Well, I got one last question about the Northern Lights, and then I really want to dive into you being a detective, what it's like up there, the resources that you have, what it's like to solve some of these crimes that you've been involved in, and then the technology that you and your captain have brought into your agency that's really absolutely helped you guys solve these crimes. So the Northern Lights, I think maybe 2 months ago in California, we were able to see it if you looked at a certain angle. And I actually saw a portion of it from my house in my backyard, and it was faint, but it was absolutely incredible. And I couldn't imagine what it's like in Alaska. Could you just tell me what it's like to see the Northern Lights, dude? Because it was incredible from my house.
Just tell Mark.
No one else
Mark wants to know.
So the Northern Lights are cool. It's weird because where we're at, if you live in Anchorage, it's a little hard to see them because of the lights. But if you live on the outskirts of Anchorage or outside Eagle River, Westella, as long as you don't have a bunch of streetlights bouncing off the ground, they just come alive. And you can actually hear them. If it's quiet enough, you can go out on like a frozen lake, watch them. I've got hundreds of pictures in my phone of the Northern Lights dancing. But you look up and it's just purple, green, blue, and it's just this, I mean, everyone will stop. You'll be going down the highway and be like, why is everyone stopping? Next thing you know, you're like, oh, it's the aurora tonight. You look out and then everybody just pulls over and like life just stops for a minute. Because sometimes it'll be 1 or 2 minutes. Sometimes it'll be 10 minutes. But it'll come and it'll go. Some nights it'll turn on and off over, but it's all atmospheric conditions, but it's gorgeous. And people do really amazing shots with their cameras. I've got a ton of photos at my house from them. Being out at the lake, we see them. So we're kind of blessed. Like on night shift, you'd see them all the time.
Can I just clarify something real quick?
Yeah.
You said dancing. Were you dancing under the stars or are the stars dancing?
I don't dance. The kids, yeah.
Okay, because I was picturing you getting out and dancing under
Yeah,
the Northern Lights.
In your boots?
Yeah. me and my bunny boots are not dancing.
With your little fur hat?
Yeah, the fur hat, I don't even know where it's at right now. I'm probably going to have to turn that in at some point. Or
So you still have it is what you're saying?
it's somewhere probably in a black tote in the back of the garage. But yeah, I'll make sure I send it to you.
Thanks for sharing the Northern Lights, because I actually got to see it, and I thought, I wish you would have seen it, Kyle, because like actually hearing you talk about it is pretty rad. Like it was very cool to see it. Everybody talks about, oh, I've seen the Northern Lights, but no one's actually described what it's like to see them.
There's a lot of people from Japan will come over and make a vacation just to see the Northern Lights.
Wow. Yeah, we're gonna come to your place now.
By all means, I've got room. Come on up.
Yeah,
it's gorgeous. I'll send you some of the videos. They're amazing.
Nice.
All right, let's get into you being a detective, the unit that you're involved in, some of the crimes that you investigate, how difficult these crimes are to solve, having to sift through all this material, the time it takes, the amount of cases that you are working, your unit's working, and then what this technology is that you come across that is really accelerated your ability to analyze all this stuff and start connecting the dots and solving crime.
Yeah, so I work in the special victims unit. I started at our vice units, the drug unit, the undercover. I did that for about a year, and then I ended up in special victims. And that's where a lot of our detectives over the years, like if you were the cream of the crop, you were in homicide or SVU or child crimes, it's all the person crimes. And so I was like, I think I want to go do that. And a spot opened up in SVU, and the next thing you know, I've been there since 2017. So Special Victims Unit in Anchorage handles sexual assault cases for anybody that reports after the age of 16. If you're under 16, you'd go to the child unit. But we are leading the nation, unfortunately, in sexual assaults in the state of Alaska. We're by far ahead of every other state. And that becomes problematic for us. There's 8 detectives in the unit.
Why is that, do you think?
I don't know that anybody's got a magic 8 ball for the answer, whether it's the isolation or the snow or the alcohol or, no one really has, there's not a one-shot answer. I think the state plays a part in it, right? You're inside all winter, but it doesn't go down in the summer. So that's not an answer to everything. But unfortunately, it's a number one problem for the entire state. It's not just Anchorage. So we're super busy. Like when you tell the numbers to other people, we go to these conferences and they're like, yeah, I handled 12 cases last year. And I'm like, I handled 12 cases by February.
That's just you.
Yeah. So our 8 detectives and special victims, we got 1 sergeant, 8 detectives. Between all of us, we catch anywhere between 600 to 800 cases a year.
Wow.
For the 8 of us. And so we really need 16 detectives.
Your captain is behind the scenes right now, who is amazing, but
yeah, I'm not going to look at her right now, but
maybe we can get some.
He's scared.
Yeah.
But manpower nationwide, it doesn't matter what department it is. We could talk about anybody's department. They're short.
Yeah.
So she knows we need more detectives. The problem is, where are we going to find them? Our chief is doing a great job trying to get more bodies in the door, more bodies to show up to recruiting events, and he's succeeding. But nationwide, there's that anti-law enforcement, like, I don't know if I want to do that. And I don't know if that's what's driving it, but, you know, when I applied, there was 2,500, 3,500 people applying to an academy. Now we're 300, 500, 600, 700 maybe. So, yeah, to Alaska, we don't have a pension up there. We're the only state in the nation. So you got this dichotomy of lack of people. So we were trying to figure out, it started years ago when I first got to detectives, like, how do we do this more efficiently? We'd do an 1.5 hour interview, then you'd have to go listen to it. Well, all we had was headphones, and I'm watching our clerk, and she's got a foot pedal to hit play faster. And I'm like, that's the ticket. So it started with the foot pedal. So next thing, all the detectives have foot pedals, and then we naturally, through the course of this since 2017, next thing I was like, I don't type 100 words a minute. I got to be more efficient. I didn't learn to type, that was for sure. So I started trying to dictate my reports. So I had this device where I could speak into it, and you just put a little like AirPod or your microphone into it. And it was just the natural evolution. And as we've kept moving, next thing I know, I'm like, well, here comes the transcription services. And they started showing up years ago. And then that was like Dragon Speak and things of this nature. But they didn't
used to use that.
It didn't work well.
Yeah,
like you spent more time fixing it, and
this is all self-driven by you and your team because you recognizing that you have to be more efficient.
Yeah.
And you're just coming up with these. That's why you're the Swiss Army knife.
We weren't getting any more bodies, and the cases weren't going away. They're still coming in. As a matter of fact, the law changed. Now we have more cases. So we're like, we gotta figure something out. So maybe 2.5, 3 years ago, I started going down the AI rabbit hole. It was new, and I'm on the tech team for the SWAT guys. So Starlink, drones, if it's something nerdy, I was normally involved with it. And so my captain comes to me and goes, hey, we've got this AI. I know you were looking at them. And I was like, yeah, I'm not just looking. And so I was like, yeah, I've been testing these things out, kind of just trying to see what'll work. And we went through, 4 or 5 iterations, but then you run into I can't put it in there because it's got people's names in it. Or, in law enforcement, everything's sensitive. Well, CJIS, HIPAA, all of those things come into play. So you'd hit these roadblocks, and then you'd call a company and be like, is this coming? Like, are you guys thinking about being CJIS approved or HIPAA approved? And those are just requirements for us to put like police reports in or medical records in.
So hold on, before we keep going, I'm not super diverse in AI technology in law enforcement. So when you're saying like you're taking all this stuff, like what are you actually trying to accomplish?
My goal was to be able to get all the information. So as an SVU detective or any detective, you got phone rips, you've got medical records. If somebody gets shot, you got doctor's notes. You've got all the evidence, the photographs from the scene. All of this, there was no like one central place to put it and to be able to look at it all.
Especially cell phone data records. That stuff is...
Yeah, you're talking...
And this is just one case.
Yeah, you're talking terabytes.
Yeah.
I mean, some of these kids have 2 terabyte iPhones. You try to download a 2 terabyte iPhone in addition to, a couple hundred, crime scene photos. It's so data intensive. When you go to put a case file on, when I started, it was, you may have a phone and it was like a physical download. And we have progressed. I think I did one of the first iCloud warrants at the department, or one of them in our unit. And then now we're doing these on almost every case.
Yeah.
The data and the technology is not going to stop for us.
So that's just more stuff that you're getting, the more you're having to try and organize.
Yeah, I mean, we used to put a case file for the district attorney on a CD. It's not even possible now. Like, they don't make CDs big enough. It's a hard drive. You're talking hundreds of gigs or terabytes for these cases sometimes. You see 12 phones from a case. Where are you going to put all this data and then start trying to, never mind, go through it? And that's the problem. Policing nowadays, you're going through, guys are using AI to commit crimes. They're using burner phones. They're using encryption. They're just as creative as we are, so I was just trying to keep up. So next thing you know, I met up with the guys at Closure, and they showed up one day, and we sat down at my desk at like 10 a.m., and next thing I know, I was like, hey, dude, it's like 10:30 at night. And I was off at 5, but can we do this again tomorrow? And he's like, yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. And so we hit the ground running, and that's where all of this kind of just by accident came together. My captain came to me and said, hey, I didn't find Closure. They found us. And we hit the ground running, and from there it just hasn't stopped. The whole detective division now has access to it, and it is such a force multiplicator for us. We can't keep up with everything just by people. We have one intel analyst that's really helpful, maybe two, depending on how things are going. Well, now each detective has their own kind of intel analyst. I can put a phone dump in there. I can map it. I can have it write a description of what just happened. I can have it write probable cause. I can go through, double check everything. When you've been working for 20 hours at 2 a.m. trying to type, we've all had you wake up and there's like 18 pages of Z's in your police report. Mm-hmm. So it's amazing time saver is what it ends up being.
So let's really dive into this, and we'll walk through a case and how Closure is really helping you guys out and all the other agencies that are using it. So here's the reality. I'm still in policing. Every agency in the nation, to include Alaska, I don't care where you work, has the same problem. We're short-staffed. You're not getting the bodies like we used to. And technology is only, like you said, growing. Suspects are utilizing that technology, and we are constantly trying to play catch-up to solve these crimes, which takes an incredible amount of work, resources, all the things that we don't have, which is manpower. So in law enforcement, you talk about, I think one of the biggest breakthroughs of technology, in my opinion, at least for us, was license plate readers. That was like a huge deal to all of us when license plate readers came out. Now here we are, fast forward, using AI technology to solve crimes. That's where Closure comes in. And I think if you are a cop or anybody listening to this that has any type of power within your organization to bring a program to your department because you are facing the same frustrations that we are facing, pay attention, because this is a program that you only have the chips that you have, right? My boss says it all the time. He's always like in our meetings, I know we need all these extra detectives and bodies, but we don't have that. So we have what we have. How do we play our chess pieces with the pieces that we do have? And that's where this whole program comes in, because it is very efficient, and is literally helping solve crime within minutes versus human hours, which would take forever. So walk us through a case and why using Closure would be so important or efficient and effective for you guys. So you get a case. Let's say you have all these phones and digital evidence to go through. Maybe it's jail cell phone calls that you have to listen to. We all know how time consuming that is. Sitting there, like, imagine literally putting on headphones, pulling up someone's jail cell phone calls because you're just praying that they said something during these conversations, which, believe it or not, more oftentimes than not, they do. But where in those phone call conversations do they say that one key piece of evidence that you need? You have to literally listen to the entire phone call or multiple phone call conversations to get that one thing that you're looking for.
Yeah. So
walk us through Closure and like, what exactly do they do and how are they helping?
Yeah. So the jail calls thing, you hit right on the head. So we had the district attorney call, hey, case is going to trial. It's been a couple years, guy's still in jail. We need to go over the jail calls, and we need it done by like next Thursday. And we're like, okay. 1,400, it was 1,510 jail calls at 15 minutes apiece.
That's a ton.
It's 6 months. If you want to put it in normal 40-hour work weeks, if you were to put a technician down, it's 15 minutes to listen to it, because we kind of looked into it.
Wow.
It's 15 minutes to listen to it. It's 15 minutes to kind of annotate and put something in an Excel sheet and write your report, or however you're going to do it. And then that's if you just keep going at it and you don't screw up and you don't take breaks and your eyes don't fall out of your head. Like, who wants to listen to jail calls for 6 months on one case? No one, like, no human being wants to do that.
No.
It's just torture. And then you add in the slang, the lingo, the keywords. Somebody's phone rings and you miss something. Closure's made it to where we were able to take those 1,510 jail calls, for example, dump them in. Took us longer to download them.
And this is a true story.
This is a true story. This is a case in my office. They were getting ready for trial, wanted to know what he had said on the jail calls. We download all these calls. Takes about a day to get them downloaded. We put them in. Once they're uploaded in Closure, in less than, I think it was like 7 or 10 minutes, it analyzed all 1,510 jail calls. It gives you any time they made statements that were like trying to hide evidence or trying to destroy things, or they brought up names. So you get like a list of names. You get anytime they mention firearms, evidence destruction, statements of guilt or remorse, things that even if I were listening to this, like I don't have time to break it all down in each call, and not 1,510 jail calls. Like me and you could sit there and do that for 3 months. And at the end of that, we don't want to do our job anymore. Like
You're going to miss stuff.
You're going to miss stuff. There's the human error.
It's not practical.
No.
And so Closure and all these AI programs that they started with transcription, Closure's like molded this to where the first jail calls I put in, it was like identify any statements of admissions of guilt, remorse, things of that nature. And so I prompt it and it's like, here's your Excel sheet. Here's the reference to the actual data where I pulled the answer from. So a lot of people are afraid AI is going to make stuff up or it's going to get it wrong. Mm-hmm. Well, we're double checking it because it lists the article. Like you'll have the quote that you're looking for in the jail call. You'll have the audio file it came from, and then you'll have the exact minute. So you just click on a blue bubble, and then it pulls up the audio that it's linked to that you uploaded. And you'll at minute 11, it's like, hey, make sure you get rid of that phone over at mom's house because if they find that, I'm screwed. And we're like, we need that phone.
Dude, that's fucking awesome.
And that's things we would miss, right?
Totally miss that.
We'd never get that.
You actually might even hear it when you're listening to jail calls, but you're not comprehending that.
Yeah.
At that point.
And to be able to do what would take 6 months for an intel analyst or a person that's like, our guys get broken leg. We call them a light duty. They can't be out on the street wearing a gun. They end up at a desk. They'll be watching video. They'll be doing security footage.
Steve, I know we're weird, dude, but we call it light duty too.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
We're not different.
I'm on an island. So
He's like, someone gets hurt and they like can't carry a gun out on the street, so we call it light duty.
Yeah, you're not that far from us.
No,
I'm just kidding.
But
maybe your snow pants are getting you a little overheated right now.
Maybe it's a little warm down here. Yeah. So we just can't do it for every case. We have so many cases that just need jail calls looked at. So it started off with jail calls and then transcriptions. Next thing you know, we're like, I wonder what it does with photos.
Yeah, but you got to finish the story on this because without that information that you got from this, that case would have been thrown out.
It's an Excel sheet, a police report done in an hour, sent to the DA, and something that would have taken 16 detectives a week to do. Like we would have just had to divvy them up or something. One guy did it in an hour, got it to the DA, and now the DAs are all like, where are my jail calls? And we're like, oh, we've created a monster. Because now they know it's easy. Mm-hmm. Right before they were like, they wouldn't ask for it in every case. Now it's just second nature. Hey, I want jail calls. Because they know they're going to get something out of it.
That's just only bolstering the case. God, to listen to that in court and have a jury hear the defendant say that, that's gold.
Yeah, we have a case where the guy was setting up the victim in his case in the sexual assault and trying to make fake texts and using technology, and they were talking about it on the jail calls. And it's like, you guys, these are things that we were missing 10, 15 years ago, right? 5 years ago. Now we're catching it all, and it's just part of the case, but it's just one more thing for us to do. But the nice part is we can actually do it.
So you have cases from 5 years ago where a victim is hoping the person that committed this act gets arrested. I imagine you and your unit gets phone calls of like, hey, where's my case at? What's going on? And all your responses got to be is, hey, we're working on it. But now you can actually go back and you can start running that through this program. And now you're getting these things where you can bundle this case, take it to the DA's office, and they can start prosecuting.
Yeah, and some of these guys have already been arrested in jail on their charges. They're just pending that trial that's coming up. And like you said, I don't understand it. They know they're recorded, but they get on there and say stuff.
All the time.
And they have for decades. I talked to the old guys, and they're like,
continue, Will.
They're like, yeah, we used to listen to it on tape. And I'm like, that's crazy. And the difference now is we have the tools to do it way faster. And if anybody out there's doing jail calls for their investigations, like,
which any detective should be doing.
Yeah.
That's like every detective. It doesn't matter what unit you're in. Every detective is doing that.
Yeah. So it's just work. Security footage, traffic cameras, whatever it is you're doing, there's a faster way to do it. And we just happened to figure it out pretty quick that this was like a force multiplier like nobody's business because it doesn't sleep. It doesn't eat. It's there at 2:00 in the morning when I'm by myself. I don't have to call an analyst in to help me with a phone. It's crazy the amount of time that you can solve. I mean, one case with jail calls for one analyst, 6 months. Now every case, I mean, we got 600 to 800 cases.
I think any detective, if you're a lieutenant, captain, I don't care. If you're anybody making decisions, like I'd be drooling out the mouth to get something like this because you're not getting more bodies. That's just the reality of it. Maybe you have a pool of money and, we all know departments are trying to figure out, well, where do we spend this money? Like, how do we be most efficient and effective? Well, I'm investing my money into something like this because that you're not supplementing cops, but you're making your work more efficient so that the resources that you do have can spend their time doing what they should be doing, not sitting at a computer listening to jail phone calls all day for 8-10 hours a day.
Precisely.
So why wouldn't you want to have something like this?
I mean, some of the things I heard were, we're going to lose cop jobs.
You're not.
And we're not.
Yeah.
We've proven that. Like, the work's not going away. You still have to double check everything it does. But the speed at which it does it, it just makes me more efficient so I can prosecute more, spend more time on other cases, go to more training. I mean, there's so many things that we do now that we weren't doing 10 years ago. And the nice part about it is it's not just jail calls. So we have a big case right now. Guy fled the country, went to Guatemala, Cambodia, Italy, and it was just on the run, causing all types of chaos. Well, now you start getting police reports in Italian.
Man.
I don't speak or read Italian. It transcribes like 20 languages. You start getting police reports from Louisiana and all these other states, and they're all formatted differently. And you're trying to read through them, and then you start getting all these reports. Well, how do you put together a timeline across 4 continents or 3 continents and all these, it's just a mess. You're talking 500 to 1,000 items for one case detective to kind of wrap your mind around it. But then you dump it all in closure with the photographs, the reports, all the evidence, the photographs. I mean, it'll dictate and make a photo log. So for your guys on crime scene, we test out. We're like, hey, I wonder what it does. So we do a CSAM case. A lot of electronic evidence they're looking for in a search warrant. The guys took really good photos, all the items in the house that they were going to seize. They didn't know we were going to put it into closure, so we throw it into closure, and it prints out an evidence list with, iPhone 17, what make it is, what model it is, serial number unknown, because you can't see the iPhone serial number without the screen.
So wait,
on.
it's taking the photos.
Yes.
And so if I just took a picture right here and I said, I need to identify an off-white bottle cap from a water bottle, it could identify the photo that it's in.
So the best part is you upload the photo, it does it by itself. It'll synopsize what the photo is.
I didn't have to ask it.
You don't even have to ask it. So we had one where there's a gun in the photo. We didn't tell it about the gun, and it brings up the gun.
It told
That's
you.
crazy.
Yeah. So
Wow.
you can upload your photos. And so I sit next to a person at the department that's a crime scene team guy, actually gal. And so she's got all these photos. She's been to the body farm, super expert on crime scene. Like, I don't have an idea. I'm like, can you look at this? Is that splatter? And she's just, that's not splatter. And I'm like, all right, whatever. Just, what are we looking at? So I took 10, 20 of her photos, threw it in there. It nailed all of them. And I was like, so what do you think? And she's like, it called this a smudge. I'd call it more of a smear or a possible transfer. I'm like, okay, we're cutting hairs here. The AI just did your photo log for you. I get it. Didn't get that one description quite the way you wanted it. But I looked at her, I was like, it is a smudge. And she's like, no, so did it nail it 100%? No, but it did what would have taken her 4 or 5 hours to go through and dictate and write what each photograph was in 3 minutes.
That's where it just keeps coming back to, is that you still need somebody to verify the information.
Absolutely.
So AI is rapidly evolving. There's people that are like, oh, it's going to take our jobs. It's ruining everything. But if you look at this way it's working in law enforcement, you have a massive caseload. Your unit has a massive caseload. If I was a victim, I would want that case, when it happened, to come right to you. And using this platform, you have the ability to sift through that, collect all the information, then you're verifying it. It's being, like you said, Kyle, it's efficient, but you're also able to solve crimes, which I think, when you said Alaska has the highest crime rate for specific crimes, Well, maybe if all of these are starting to get solved, now you're catching people in the back where they've done this multiple times. Maybe it's a serial person that's been involved in these crimes, and it's going to prevent that. And eventually, you're protecting the citizens that you work for.
I mean, that's ultimately what we're doing. And some of the departments, we're one of the first police departments that I know of that signed up doing kind of this whole picture AI. Everybody uses like Axon transcripts, Draft One. It's writing a police report for a traffic stop. I don't train much with the East Coast guys, so maybe I'm missing it. But I mean, we're dumping in thousands of items of evidence, and I mean, tearing it apart piece by piece, timelines, reports, words, statements, analysis. I mean, some of the detectives go to these schools, the old school language analysis. Mm-hmm. The FBI teaches you break out the colored highlighters and score the form because when they're talking, they're making mistakes and they're grammatical errors. Well, now you can just have it scored. So we did it with one of ours, and I'm like, that would have taken me 3-4 hours. And I put the question in, formatted it with a score sheet, and next thing you know, it's like, here's your analysis. Click on it, verify the links. And what would have taken me 4-6 hours was done in 5 minutes, and took me 10 minutes to verify it.
I think the best part about it is you're not getting, people think of AI like, like you said earlier, it could be wrong. It's pulling stuff from the web, whatever. It's the program is only pulling information based on what you're feeding it. So you're feeding it actual information, phone calls, pictures, evidence. Like it ain't grabbing it somewhere from the web. And then you have to worry about like, well, that was never said or whatever. Like, no, it's whatever you're feeding it is what it's pulling it from.
Exactly. Ours isn't like going on like ChatGPT where it's got the whole internet of the world as a resource. I give it what I have in the case file, and then it goes, okay, let's look at it. And it just it synopsizes everything, transcripts, audio, casework, timeline, and it's evolved to the point where you can get a snapshot on a cold case. I mean, I don't know how long it takes a detective in cold case a case they've never worked to go through the files. You always hear about this.
Dude, we have cold case detectives at my work who look at cold case homicides, and the binders are that thick, and it's like, all right, fresh start. And it's like, I look at that and I go, fuck, I would never want to do that. But
and you can only do it to 2-3 cases a year, maybe.
Yeah, if that.
So we go to you start hearing about how these guys are doing it, and some of these other agencies are now starting to throw their cold cases into there, and it's starting to find all the little connections that were missed because it was on paper in a binder from 1988. Well, the technology's here. It's like DNA. They're running the old DNA samples. Now the old case files are going to start getting uploaded, and I can only imagine that I think it's going to go real quick, real fast, that we're going to start seeing a lot more of those. Hey, we got an arrest warrant, and the AI is not getting the arrest warrant.
No.
Some people have that fear that people are going to get arrested by the AI. No, the detective, the officer still got to go in front of a judge, explain everything. Mm-hmm. You got to have all your source material. It still comes back to what's in the binder, what's on the audio, and what you got.
I'm really interested in seeing the cold cases get solved because I wanted to be a cold case detective. I think that would be in law enforcement, that next to being on a full-time team, would be the most rewarding thing that there is, because I look at it as if you have a person that's going to commit a horrific crime of murder, they're in that mind frame, whatever they are, wherever they are in their point of their life, that's where they are. Their friend group, the family, like they all know that this person is this way. They commit a crime, the victim, the family, they deal with that. This person, it may or may not affect them very much, their friend group, and then they go to prison. But a cold case, somebody that commits that crime, the victim has been affected, the suspect is not affected. They may move on, mature, start a family, have kids, maybe become somewhat productive, have a house, and then 25 years later, you come in and you solve that, and then you go and you arrest that person. That person is now dramatically affected, and their immediate group is now affected, like that victim's family, because maybe the spouse or the families around don't realize that, oh my God, what did you do? Look at the person that was arrested in your...
Golden State Killer?
Golden State Killer. Affected the whole family. I'm getting the chills from it. It affected the whole family. So I would love to see cold cases just start coming and just arresting people for the horrific crimes and bringing some peace to these families.
You had a genius idea, and we happen to know the owner of of closure. Maybe we can get this happening. But you said you dump all this information, and then the program says, "Okay, let me take a look at this." I think we should actually have it say that. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I
Kind of humanize it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we should use my voice.
Aaron, can we
or-
do that?
Steve.
Can we make that happen?
Steve, did that really? Does it really talk to you? Okay, let me take a look
No,
at what you got
in
here,
in
Steve.
Aaron's voice, like, all right, well,
Yeah,
I'll get to it.
yeah.
It's funny you say that.
Thank you,
There's no
Steven.
voice.
Yeah.
I wish there was my voice on there. That'd be kind of cool because it would just drive all the guys in the unit nuts. But
Or maybe we could work on that.
yeah, I'm sure that's a modification that can happen before we get back. So we'll have to make that happen. But it's game changing. Like out of all the things I've done, it's so exciting. Like you're saying, it doesn't matter what you do, whether it's vice, you're doing child crimes, adult crimes, robberies, the homicide guys. It works for everyone.
Well, dude,
crazy.
even dope guys, right? Like I work in the dope game, and you're constantly listening to jail phone calls. We had a case where we booked this dude for sales. We couldn't find what we were looking for, which was a larger quantity of drugs. He gets booked. He calls his mom from jail, I think it was just his mom or I don't know, some relative, and he literally tells her on the jail phone call, "Hey, they didn't find it. Go in the bedroom. In this particular bedroom, it's in a coat pocket, like in the inner lining of this coat pocket." He's like, "Pull it out, go take it to so-and-so, they'll know what to do with it." And it was like, holy shit, we missed it. And then boom, we go over there, contact her, we let her know what we had heard on the phone call. But that was like a full day process where I feel like that could have narrowed it down in minutes, and we could have had that.
Yeah.
So that to me is what's so crazy about it is it's for anybody.
Yeah, and so you work in Anchorage, Alaska, you are the Swiss Army knife. You have a lot of limitations. You have to be very resourceful. You're the one no one is there to help you.
You are the Northern Light.
Yeah, you're the Northern Light, Steve.
There we go.
There we go.
I'll have that on a patch for you.
Yeah, we are
I'll
the
be
Northern Light.
Sending it back to you
Yeah,
with the
awesome.
Northern Lights
Thank
for
you.
APD.
But honestly, you are up there, and you have to be incredibly resourceful, and you have all these cases, and closure is actually really helping you become more efficient. And it's not just the agencies like where you're at, where you don't have a lot of resources. There's other agencies that have resources, like San Francisco PD. They are using it as well. So it just shows like it's not just a rural community that you're having difficulty. Like, why not take this across and implement this into these agencies? Because it is a closed, basically, system. It's not like going out there and just sucking stuff from the internet. Like, you're controlling it. What you're saying, you're just feeding it. So I think it's only responsible for leadership to look into this product, to bring this into agencies, to solve these crimes, to bring some closure to these families. Like,
Get it?
why would we
Closure?
not? I just actually clicked.
Did you
It
do
just
that on
clicked.
purpose? Oh, okay.
But why would we not do that?
I don't think it's going to stop us. I think it's one of those tech things. Like you always have the chiefs like, we're not doing drones. We're not doing license plate readers.
Always, yeah.
I know once the winds get out and these cold cases start getting solved and IACP or whatever it is, once it gets, everybody's like, oh, license plate readers.
Big Brother.
Big Brother's going to be in your face. And now they're like, well, that worked out. And now they're everywhere. We don't have license plate readers where I'm at. When they came out, it was instantly like, Alaska does not have license plate readers. We're the only state not to have them, I believe. So, but we're one of the first to jump on board with this. And so I think we're going to play normally we're playing the catch-up game where we're at. We're always a couple years behind you. I think we just lucked out on this one, and we're jumping on board. San Francisco, bunch of the district attorneys, investigators units, all those guys that are jumping on board. It's all been in the last 18 months. We just lucked out, and we're on the front end of it this time instead of just playing catch up.
Well, seriously, hats off to the Anchorage Police Department for be willing to give this a try and to do that and to help you guys who are the ground workers doing the work. And at the end of the day, like your chief or sheriff has to sign off on this stuff, and they're the ones that are spending or dictating where this money is going to be spent. And so you got to give credit to the department and the chief for getting you
Yeah, I
guys
never
this.
thought the chief would sign a check for us to do something like this. And then once he saw the value in it, it sounds like it was a no-brainer.
So that camera, this is your chance to thank your chief. So there's your camera to thank you, chief.
And out of the corner of your eye, your
And
captain
say,
is
"Thank
right
you,
there
Captain."
also.
Yeah. So
I didn't get told no, so that's the best part. So
Yeah.
now we're all doing it.
Well, I think people
That's
are
awesome.
wondering how and where do you learn about this company called Closure. So go to closure-inc.com. closure-intel.com, closure-intel.com. Check it out. It's not just Anchorage PD that's using it, San Francisco, San Mateo, other ones that we actually can't list right now because they're still in the works. I think this is a great product. I'm super stoked that you're here. It's funny that you're wearing snow pants still, but and it's warm. I'm very thankful that you came, shared your stories, what you're doing, the traction that you're moving your agency and law enforcement, and the fact that you're being resourceful and looking out to bring new things and new ideas. And I want to thank the Anchorage Police Department for allowing you to come on here and talk about this, because a lot of agencies sometimes are afraid to do that, but you're really open and sharing that, and it just shows how awesome Anchorage PD is. And I will be coming up and checking out the Northern Lights. So
you're welcome anytime.
Yeah. So
we were actually wondering, did you bring us any Alaskan salmon? We thought you might do that for us, but
so I would have if this was my first day here. I didn't have anywhere to freeze it, so you'll have a box coming.
okay. So we have an excuse. Got it.
You got an excuse. Worst case
have
scenario, you got
freezers.
to come catch it with me, and
That's fine. We'll do that.
we'll go jump on the boat and go for a ride.
Should I've actually always wanted to go to Alaska, so
yeah, we're going to the Northern Lights.
I'm just not gonna go in the wintertime.
Yeah, I was gonna say Northern Lights is a wintertime thing. If we're fishing, it's got to be
I
June,
don't
July.
do well in the cold.
Yeah,
Me
Mark's not
either.
gonna do well in the cold.
Well, you run the AC in the winter.
Yeah, and
That's
do they
true.
have? You guys have Starbucks? Yeah, close by.
I mean, I'm not gonna take you to a Starbucks, but we'll go somewhere else with really good
Well,
coffee.
you lost Mark. He's not coming.
I know.
So
Steve,
he has to go to Starbucks.
can you leave the listeners with some wisdom that you've had over your time of career in law enforcement? What's some wisdom that you could leave the listeners?
Could be anything.
For the guys out there, like you're gonna hit a point, like we've all hit that lull where we're like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
You know, I had a lieutenant tell me you're gonna hit it at some point, and I'm like, I'm on midshift. That's not gonna happen. We're chasing bad guys, and then I hit the lull, and he pulled me aside. He was like, you haven't seen daylight in a while. You should probably go see normal people. And for the guys that hit that lull, change it up, mix it up, go find another unit, try a different shift. You know, go do Vice, go do SRO. You know, there's so many different things out there. I just happened to stumble into what I like doing SVU. I had no clue. I was always like, I'm going to be on SWAT. I'm going to homicide. And then I was like, oh, you can't be on both, you know, at our department because you're probably going to be the guy at the shooting. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's like, well, I got to pick one. Next thing you know, I'm in detectives doing it. So mix it up. Don't be scared.
That's great advice. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Don't
some
stay
guys
stagnant.
get in a rut and they just get stagnant and they just become disgruntled, or they're just not happy like they used. Like everybody comes out of the academy is like, let's go do this. And at some point it changes for everyone, but mix it up, man. It's fun. You just got to find what you love. And there's plenty to do at all these agencies.
Very, very good point. I agree with you. I like that. All right. Anything else?
No, that's it.
All right. Well, dude, seriously, thank you for making the trek down here. I know you got other stuff going
thanks
on
for
down
having
here,
me.
but it's awesome to have someone from Alaska to kind of come down here and break it all down for us and kind of give us your perspective of policing up there. You know, it is super intriguing for all of us down here. So
Yeah, I mean, you can
We appreciate
transfer
it.
if you want.
I'm good, dude. I'm
Yeah.
gonna stay in California, keep my weather, and but thank you. I'll come visit.
I'll take you fishing.
Cool.
All right.
I'm down for that. So thank you to the Anchorage Police Department also. I know we said that, but can't thank them enough. And Closure for sponsoring today's video and providing all the great work that they're doing to help us in the law enforcement community. Greatly appreciated. So see you guys on the next video.
See ya.